Michelle. Thanks for agreeing to talk to me today. How are you?
Hi, thanks, Lisa. I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I was so excited that you agreed to chat because I think you're going to inspire a lot of people. So, we've been working together, I think, since February. And when we started, you were trying to get away from teaching accounting and make writing like your full-time gig instead of a hobby. So, you want to tell everybody kind of where you were at and what you were thinking when you when you first signed on?
Yeah, so I was a little bit scared because my teaching contract was ending and I wasn't sure how I was going to continue paying my bills without having a plan going forward. Normally, I would look for another teaching position, but there was a few things that were telling me that that was not the right option for me this time around. So I was just trying to um, figure out what I was going to do and how I was going to make writing a career going forward.
Yes, and you were very brave because you even like turned in your teaching laptop. What was that? What was that leap of faith like?
Yeah, again, it was scary because I was thinking, okay, if I hand this in, that means I'm not going to be looking for more teaching jobs. So what does that mean for me exactly? And I had tried to make writing a career before in the past. So it's been several years, probably about 7 years, where I've been trying to make a go at writing as a career. And then I just keep going back to accounting because that's what I had done for so long. So I just sort of said, I use that handing in the laptop as sort of a sign that this is it. I can go forward with a new career, no more going back, because that's what I was constantly doing is I would do some writing and I would find some writing jobs, and then I would go back and look for the regular paycheck type of work, which always was related to accounting. So I just sort of use that handing in the laptop as my sign that that's the no more going back, no more flip-flopping.
Right, right. Well, and when I first start working with somebody one on one, we always do that year ahead reading where we pull cards and figure out what our focus is each month. And when we do that, we don't really know what that card means. We just know what the focus is going to be. And it's funny because July was your first month making more money writing than you would have teaching. And that month we had gotten the Phoenix, which is reinvention of yourself. And we both went, wow. So, how did it feel to you in only 5 months? 5 months. You made the same income. How did that feel to you after all those times of trying?
It felt amazing actually, and I didn't even click that I had done that until I was sort of doing some planning for the next month and looking at the writing down in my calendar which bills needed to be paid and things like that. And when the paychecks for the writing work that I had done were coming in, and then I realized, oh wow, I actually made more this month than I had when I was teaching. So yeah, that was really awesome. And it wasn't even something that I was consciously trying to do. Whereas in the past, I had done that and I was always striving for a certain number dollar wise for income from writing. And it's interesting that when I stopped doing that, it actually worked out. So
Right,
just,
right.
yeah, trusting and focusing on other things to make it happen. So yeah, it was just reaffirming to see that.
Yeah. And how do you think that your mindset changed when you decided to just trust this is who I am versus I have to prove who I am with this number? How, what do you
Yeah,
think?
that's something. So I've always been told to just trust, and I've always known that I need to just trust. But it wasn't until you said that it's not our job to figure out the how that it finally clicked for me, because I was always trying to trust. But then I was going back and looking for jobs in my old field of accounting, where I had more confidence. And then I realized, wait, that's not telling the universe the right message. That's not telling the universe I want to be a writer. And so
Right.
like letting go of that how and not constantly searching the job boards anymore. I think that really helped, in just thinking of it that way, that it's not my job to figure out the how, that
Mhm.
I'm to let the universe know what it is that I want, and then the universe can do that part. That just made so much sense, and something just clicked then for me.
Yay, I'm so glad. Yeah, because I say that a lot, but it's very hard. That is, for me, that's the hardest part of manifesting, is trusting that I don't need to know how. I need to just keep putting out what I want and why I want it. And for you, you wanted to be a writer, and you are making a lot of income from nonfiction, from articles, and you're still writing your fiction, but the nonfiction is really what's powering the train. And I love that you were open to be a writer, and you let the how, so you're being flexible, and you're like bouncing between books and articles and all that kind of thing. Was that something you had done before, or is that new?
I had written articles before, but not specifically in my field of accounting. So when I first tried to make a go at freelance writing as a full-time income, I was doing all kinds of, I guess you would call them business to business blog posts. So it was for all different areas. So I was writing about healthcare, and I was writing about cubes that you can display your awards from sports, and like, so it was very random. What it was, basically whatever I was assigned that week I would write about. And somebody had actually told me that I should be writing in the financial arena, just because of my background in accounting. And I tried that, but I went about it in such a way that it didn't work out. I was trying to do content creation for accountants and selling that as a service, rather than searching for freelance jobs that were already looking for somebody to write about accounting. So when that didn't work out, I gave up, and of course went back to my old patterns of searching for jobs, looking for that regular paycheck, and that sort of all just fizzled out. So yeah, I had tried it before, but not in the same way. And so this just sort of combining the writing with accounting, it just clicked more, I guess, this time. And I just realized, oh, I actually have, I can write these articles and still have enough time to work on my own projects, which is really awesome, because that was never the case in any of the jobs that I was working as well.
Okay, I love that. And um, eh, what do you think held you back before? Because you mentioned that, you tried this a few times before, and this is the first time that you really became a writer instead of wanting to be. So, what held you back before?
I think it was fear. Like, I was always feeling that need for the money, and always worrying, how am I going to pay my bills? So always like, whether it was searching the job sites or looking for another blog post to write, regardless of what the topic was, or even regardless of how much it paid, like just that constant feeling of hustling because of being worried for where the money's going to come from. Whereas now it was just, I just let go of all of that, like focusing on that, again, that it's not my job to figure out how it's going to happen. Just focusing on what I enjoy, which is the writing, and just putting that energy out there. I didn't feel that fear this time. Like, I was just not even, whenever I would start to think, okay, how am I going to pay this upcoming bill? I just let it go. I just, sort of put it back into the universe and sent out the message, okay, I need a little bit of help. Maybe you can show me the how part now. Then I would just let it go and stop worrying about it. And I didn't go to the job boards. I didn't start searching for something, which is what I would do in the past.
Yeah, so it was almost like, as soon as you let go of the scarcity mindset, and stopped letting fear drive your train, it allowed the universe to go, here you go, right? I mean, one week you needed the money, and boom, you had two articles, and then another week, boom, four articles, right? So how do you feel moving forward? Do you feel more confident now that you can, you're a writer now?
Yeah, I do feel more confident, but that fear does still creep in. Like, every day, it's still a thought like, oh, what if I don't get any articles this month? And again, I just have to do the work and let it go and
Mhm.
relax about it, and just know that the universe has got it under control. It's all good. I don't need to worry about it. Because those times where I have needed money to pay for stuff, the articles have come in, even if it's last minute, they've still come in when I've needed them to.
Mhm.
So I can look back at those past experiences and realize that it is going to work out. There's no need to start getting all, monkey mind or whatever you call it, where you're
Right.
constantly worrying, because I am a worrier naturally. So I do need to work
I
on
am
it
too.
constantly. So yeah, just
Yeah, it
letting it
doesn't take
go, and
much.
just, yeah, feeling that happiness of what it feels like to be a writer, and not feeling that sort of like dread of job
Yeah.
searching and all that not so nice
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. You have come so far so fast. And that brings me to the mastermind group because you joined the mastermind group, I think 3 or 4 months ago. And how has that impacted all of this manifesting for you? Have you noticed a difference?
Yeah, it feels like another level of manifesting because we're manifesting as a group and we're doing the rituals every week as well. It's
Mhm.
just another way for me to quiet my mind. The rituals always help with that, to get those negative thoughts and limiting beliefs out of my head, and just let it go, which I need because, as I said, I'm constantly worrying. So having a weekly activity to do, as well as the support from the group and everybody else manifesting at the same time, and even just hearing what everyone else is working on, it just is comforting to know that we're all working on this, trusting and letting it go. Like,
Yes, yes. And I think that often uh, when I work with people, the first thing they do is they have not told anyone of what they're trying to do, which is the opposite, really, of you need that support system. And so, do you think it helps when you're in the mastermind? And we have a little mastermind super secret Facebook group and all this stuff. Does it help sometimes when the fear comes up to know that you're not alone? That there's other people doing the same thing?
yes, definitely, because I mean, it does come up often, and it's just nice to know that it comes up for other people as well too. I mean, having that level of trust that things are going to work out is not easy, and for me
Right.
especially, it's just constantly working on it. But now it's feeling like the work is really fun, and I feel like the group really helps with that too. It just makes it fun to know that there are people there to support me as I'm working through it.
Yeah. And do you think that we also in the mastermind, we're always doing that visualizing every week of everyone getting their things? And it seems to like speed up the manifesting process. Have you noticed that? I'm always like, wow. But do you feel like that really helped you, move quicker down this path?
Yeah, I did, and yeah, you're right, it definitely did speed things up when we're all working on it together, and I think the other thing for me too is it's nice to put energy towards other people instead of, worrying about myself, so then it takes those
Yes.
worries off me and turns it into a positive thing, putting the energy for, whatever everybody else is working towards, so I really like that part as well.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that, but that's true. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. So you can take some of that worry energy and you can like have a focus that doesn't have to do with you. I love
Yeah,
that.
it feels like it's not no longer worrying because it takes my mind off of me and then thinking about
Right.
whoever it is that I'm sending the energy to at that time. And yeah, it feels nice.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Hadn't even thought about that angle. Um, so let me see. What would you say to somebody who's thinking of doing this work? What would you say to them?
Oh, definitely, absolutely give it a try for sure. Yeah. And
Did,
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, how do how did you crank up your courage to invest in yourself?
I think that was part of trusting again, because I knew that I wanted to work with you one on one, and then I was interested in the group when we started working one on one, and then when you mentioned it later, I was still interested, well, even more interested. And yeah, I just had to trust that I would get some articles to pay for investing in myself, and I'm fortunate that I was raised in such a way that I was always taught that it's never a waste to invest in yourself. So I'm always willing to do that, maybe even too much so sometimes. But yeah, I had to trust that the funds would show up for me to be able to invest in myself. And it's definitely been so very worth it. So yeah, I highly recommend that anyone who's considering it try to trust that it's going to work out for you to be able to do it.
Yeah. And that is an interesting thing because money is just energy. I'm always telling people all it is energy that we have deemed worth our effort. We put out this much work and then we get this many pieces of paper that represent that work. And so basically when you pay for something, you are simply exchanging energy for energy, right? And so when you exchange energy for yourself, you are giving the universe like this huge message that, I'm ready for transformation. Let's do this, because all it is energy. So it's always scary to make that investment in yourself. But man, once you do it, it's like turning a switch. I mean, did you feel that when you first, decided, okay, I'm going to do it? How did things change rapidly?
Well, I definitely felt that nervousness or fear, fear about spending the money on myself instead of something else. It just went away once I made the decision. It was just gone, and I knew that it was the right decision, and I knew that going forward I would be receiving that energy back to me. So that's something that years ago I heard in a money mastermind that I was doing, and it was where if you give money, if you think of it coming back to you however many times over you want to think of it, and then every time you pay for something, you're thinking of it returning back to you in that many times, it just feels so much better to spend, and especially on yourself, knowing that that investment in yourself is going to come back to you so many times over, like return on investment, if you will.
Yeah, I love that. Well, just one more thing, that investment that you made in yourself and now you're a writer, how how has it affected all the areas of your life that now you get to be a writer full time?
Well, I for sure have more flexibility than I would if I was working a job, working somebody else's hours. So that is really important to me, because that was something from the beginning. Whole reason why I wanted to be a writer was so that I had that flexibility. And I feel like now I also am more structured as far as my schedule, my writing schedule every day. Whereas before, it seemed like it was just something I would do after I did everything else, sort of as an afterthought. So now it just feels like 100%. I'm working on these projects, and every day this is what I'm working on. And yeah, it just feels really good. Like it doesn't feel like this sort of hobby, I guess, like what it did in the past, that I would work around everything else I was doing. Now it's the main thing, and it feels relaxing and good to have that flexibility as well.
I love that. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Hopefully, we have inspired others. I'm sure we have. Changing careers is always scary, but it's always such a huge high when you finally have manifested a work life that you enjoy. That's huge. So
Yes.
congratulations to you. I'm so happy for you. Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
and thanks for sharing your story with everyone. I really appreciate it.